And welcome back. This is race 2, round 2, Catalonia, the shortened version, and it's go time for the reverse grade race. Top 10 swap positions. Nielsen's on pole, having finished 10th. Webber's giving BMW a good look from the front row. Off he goes. You knew it was going to happen. Rear wheel drive, doing the business, and into the lead for the first time this season.
Slipped into third there potentially after another great start
Certainly
for himself.
did, as Nielsen's now. Oh, this could be more destructive than the last one. ED, having finished 6th, could be on for a good one here. All that effort in race 1, it's kind of still where he is in the reverse grid element. Nico Wirtz already up to 8th. And we are going to be side by side going into Lancashire hairpin, braking area. Brace yourself, here we come. E-Day with a bit of a love tap to Gasho, and Wickens promising getaway himself. But then some of the more powerful cars at the back of this pack, keeping the front guys on tenterhooks there. So Webber already gapping Nielsen, Wittmann. You could see just taking no prisoners with the sleeping policeman on the final chicane before New Holland. On board with Wickens, lap 1 complete.
Wickens been watching E-Day ahead, looking on the inside of Gasho.
Decent gap to the mirrors, but you can see Physical just closing him as they concertina for the hairpin at lap 2. You got Duma kind of doing well. Some of the guys that were meant to be at the front seem to have fallen back. I mean, we're not seeing. There he is. We're seeing Butcher sort of fall back from the start, even if it's a front wheel drive. I think might have been a victim of the turn 1 traffic. Duma thinking there's a wider line to the hairpin, but it's not down the inside. So it done with a bit of a wobble. Yes, this seems to be less nailed on than the other cars going through some of the turns. It might be the behaviour of the Mazda itself, but here's Nico Wirtz having P3, but there's Schneider. Wanted to pay a visit to P10. And there's Palou in 12th, Thompson 13th, Butcher 14th. Here's Gasho, here's Wittmann looking for second place on the inside of Nielsen. They don't touch each other in the hairpin. That's very polite from Nielsen, but he's got the inside. No, he hasn't. There's Wittmann, P2 claimed. On we go. Lap 3.
Now we're looking to see if they can catch up Webber at the front. In terms of Nielsen, soon as well as Thompson was in the previous race, has managed to, although lost his position, is still up there, still fighting strong.
Swinnerton in the top 10 position. Yep, he's got some motive there. And there's E-Day also thinking there's a shortcut. Next off in.
E-Day looks like he's got a bit between his teeth. Butcher, who would have started in 10th place, haven't quite seen him on the road just yet.
Yeah, something's definitely happened in the midfield to warrant Duma and Swinnerton. There's Duma just finding a shorter line to the RAC chicane that the stewards might want to have a word with. There's Swinnerton on the outside of him now. Better run. He's got 8th place to think about, but 9th is where he resides with Duma side by side with him. Braking area for turn 1. Both of these are going to get some decent acceleration, I hope, out of these next 2 turns before hitting top whack on the run down to Lancashire. Swinnerton, well out, there we go.
Just a little wide there, the privateer.
The size of the thing, the weight of the thing is probably holding it back, but this is a good run for Swinnerton compared to Interlagos on race 1 here in Catalonia.
Butcher definitely seems to be much further down
Yeah,
than his
the entire top
position would
three.
suggest.
Yeah, the entirety of the top three, except for the Alpha, perhaps. I mean,
Yeah, he's down in 14th. Thompson's down
14th.
in
Yeah,
13th.
and then they'll.
Can't help but think he got the Catalonia shuffle from 10th place, and the reason why he's dropped down to 14th.
So I wonder if BMW are going to make the excuse that it's been reverse grid. No wonder we got the lead so far. But then Schneider's in 11th, so that's kind of where they were for race 1, and where Webber might be if without touring car aesthetic of having a reverse grid would put them. Here's E-Day still in 5th. Stagnated after that daring drive in race 1. You can see Webber's starting to get caught up by Wittmann now. Nielsen's still in 3rd, Gasho 4th, E-Day. What line is he going to take for the hairpin? He's going to take that particular line. Speaking of dodgy lines, there's Fisichella with a bit of wakey to Wickens, was doing a magnificent job in that privateer Ford. You'll notice that there are no other Fords near him, and they are meant to be the more powerful car than this one. I guess the handling is nailed on for these hairpins and some of the more acceleration areas for that front wheel drive Focus. In amongst,
just make a mention that E-Day has managed to get himself through. Gasho,
I missed that. I should have missed.
Happiest. Not usually the happiest when people go through, as mentioned to poor old Thompson. He's definitely capable of getting his elbows out. And it's unfortunate I've dropped down to 5th. He dropped down quite a few places in race 1 after his tyre started to offset. So I think that happens with this race.
You'd think some of the cars in this format would be a bit more suited for racing like this, but the front wheel drive cars aren't getting the best of luck in this particular weekend. We'll see what happens in Austria, of course, next time around. The Red Bull ring, the A1 ring. But then, of course, that's a similar, if not a bit more spread out dynamic of acceleration and top speed. Here's Nico Wirtz giving Dumas a bit of a wake-up call. Schneider still in presence there. Swinnerton still in 8th. Webber still leads, but then it looks like the top 3 are in their own battle compared to the rest of the field.
Shallow line going into there.
Let's see the lines through the chicane. There's some suspension action. Thompson now behind Butcher. That's it. And there's the first sighting of Camishol we get. And there's the first sighting of the Tamiya. Honda's having done so well at Interlagos. It's welcome to reality for the guys at the back of the pack, which, given last season, that's where they were. And I think they'll still be happy off the back of Interlagos for the entirety of the season, perhaps. Here's Webber. There's Wittmann. Right behind him now. And then a gap to E-Day, who is about to give even more bad news to Nielsen for this particular race. I wonder if he's going to dive down the inside. Nah, he's not. He would have done it by now. But then, bit of a bump to Nielsen there at the hairpin. Slowest, most agonising part of the track, notwithstanding the chicane. On board with E-Day. Watch this thing bounce through the chicane. Can't fault it. Heading towards halfway. Power down the straight before turn 1. E-Day still waiting for that power to slip. There's a gap. There's the inside. There's a bit of a tap maybe. But then on the overlap, Nielsen's got it. Maybe more power around the outside there for E-Day. 3rd place. He has been very promising indeed in this championship for the first timer around here as well as Interlagos. And then further on, there we go. We saw it in the background. We saw it in the foreground just then on the Lakasha hairpin that Wittmann is closer to Webber than ever before. Saying that, we've just come back to it and the gap starts to eke out a bit more. And then, of course, what's going to happen through the final turns? Starting to spread out in the midfield gas show there. Swinton up to 7th, Wickens up to 8th. Wirtz has fallen back, but there's Gordon Butcher now making amends for the mistake he had in the first couple of laps. But that BMW looks like it's holding him up, and Wirtz has just managed to climb up. Well, let's see what happens here. More action here through the final chicane. More corner cutting for Butcher.
Definitely corner extending that, isn't it?
I think that he's trying to save face after some of the mistakes in lap 1, as he's just gone from the outside of Wirtz there. He's got Schneider to deal with going into the first turn, the braking area for turn 1, the hairpin. But there's E-Day as well, trying to do some business too. No tapping. Amazing work from these guys in the midfield, not to hit each other. And on they go.
Butcher's now going around the outside of Wirtz. We'll have a nice inside line for the hairpin coming up.
Yeah, we'll see how it pays out on the exit, because whilst he's got the inside line, it looked like Wirtz had a bit more speed then, but then he realised where he was and where Butcher was and decided to bail out.
Wirtz not having the best race of his current season at the moment, down in 12th place.
Here's Fisichella. There's Swinnerton.
Some interesting lines from our races here today.
It's been a long weekend, and those suspensions are still doing the business over the sleeping policeman.
Still hanging on to 4th as well.
Yeah, you could see obviously none of the top 3 are within the same shot there, thanks to Nielsen just bailing out on maintaining that lead. But then we've got Webber still leading, Wittmann, all rear-wheel drive cars doing very well so far. Nielsen the first of the fronties.
Webber being at the front. I mean, as much as he was given Paul and given the opportunity to lead, he has still kept Wittmann fairly at bay.
Yeah, that's not been any threat to him yet, even if the map kind of sort of implies it's a lot closer than it actually is. Duma, P9.
Gives a little bit of a bump there, helping him through the corner.
Both privateers, Duma, the rookie, doing quite well with the factory effort right behind him now of Severe Schneider. Butcher and Wirtz, they've gained on from battling themselves, but it looks like Wirtz has suddenly found an interesting tyre choice, and all of a sudden the tyres aren't doing the work they were earlier.
They may have burnt out.
Certainly. On board Duma.
Dumas also pulling out fairly early. Must be saving the heat from the tyres.
We're into the final half of the race. Was that might have been our camera work on the radio control camera, making it look like there was a bit of a nudge into the hairpin, but through Wirtz you can see they're still very, very close without touching each other.
Oh, Wirtz has dropped incredibly off now.
Yep.
Still a bit of pace back to Palou though, so it's possible that he's quite happy to sit there in currently 12th place.
I won't think it's going to be any consolation to him that he's still in the points, having such a good start in the first 3 races. Reverse grid for this one has done. I mean, we might have missed something at the start. And intriguing if we
There's
can
only
get.
rear-wheel drive cars now outside the top 50.
Well, your top 3 is rear-wheel drive. You've got Duma and Schneider in the middle of the pack there. Schwinnerton in P7. The Alpha also in 6th, as well as on the podium. Butcher in P10.
Butcher looking.
Butcher braking, but Duma with a bit of
Dumas
a...
also looking.
Yeah.
A rather unfortunate transfer. Oh, Wickens forced a little wide. What's he doing around the outside? Does look
We've
possible.
seen... Yep, it's happened before, and it's happening again before La Campsa, the fastest turn on the circuit.
Yeah, and he's got a move completed. Wickens now looking to hold off on Butcher now.
And what looks to be nothing but oxygen between Schneider and Wirtz. We just saw Schneider give Butcher a bit of a wake-up call then. No...
Quick reminder that they're
Yeah.
there.
Supposed to buy him a drink first, Shafir, but let's see what happens. We going into the chicane here. On board, Sophia Schneider.
An interesting line there, and again. Those Toyotas are looking very fast when they get themselves a bit of open air.
Certainly are, and he's got the power on Wickens. That car is not as powerful as the other Focuses that still appear to be behind Wickens, and Wickens is still in a very good position for a privateer car. And even in front of Butcher now is Duma in the privateer BMW still. Swinnerton seems to have caught on to the back of the top 6, shall we say. Four to go after this one. And it's still... This race has rewarded us with more action so far, but I think given that it's later on in the afternoon now, the tyres are starting to wear out a bit more. I think some of them are resigned to staying in position, especially E-Day. He's still on a flyer. He's still got the fastest lap of this race. It's going to be some decent points haul. 17 points total for him. Weber's going to get the 30 if the commentator's curse doesn't strike.
E-Day doesn't seem to be making the same pursuits now as he was in race 1. There is, as you mentioned before, there could be a bit of a tyre fade into getting to his current 3rd place position.
Oh, and wide from Swinnerton there, a little bit, but he still managed to maintain 7th there by the looks of it, because it doesn't look like he's fallen that far back. You'll see him in shot now. There we go. That's what we wanted. Bit of choreography there. Butcher, P9, now on the back of Dumas. But from the looks of it, the top 2 are just gone. You can see the top left. There's P1, P2 through the chicane now, and then the Crocodile from P3 down. It's almost like they're not trying, but we know they are, especially E-Day.
Looking at their lap times, E-Day slightly dropped off there. That's why he's got the fastest there, 117, is then getting 120s.
Swinnerton, another of the around the outsides on Fisichella, but Fisichella and that power of the Alpha just managing to fend off this time around. We'll see what happens into the hairpin. And Swinnerton got the brakes.
Ooh, bit of a bomb there from Butcher into Dumas as they went through the corner. That was, I guess it was another "I'm here, hello."
And there's Butcher like, oh, you're a rookie. Let me sing you the song of my people. Biff.
Welcome to touring cars.
Welcome to touring cars indeed. I think that might require a word from the stewards though. X on the back of the car or not. Fisichella.
Fisichella with that surprise second place after being only really just in the top 10 for the first part of race 1.
It was a good run. Much like E-Day's run in that same race.
Ooh, that's a naughty
corner cutting.
Very naughty corner cutting.
Is Swinnerton going to capitalise on that at the end of this lap, me wondering. But then, look at this. Power on the Alpha. Swinnerton thinking, wait a minute, me too. But it looks like Fisichella's managed to gain on Gasho, but then we've got the power of the Renault engine still getting him ahead. But of course, it's happened here before.
A little bit of a bump and run from Fisichella and Gasho there.
Round the outside of Worth. Swinnerton still trying to pay close attention.
Yeah, he's going to end up picking the pieces if something goes wrong here.
Fisichella down the inside of Lecamps. Swinnerton has managed to capitalise on this for them being politely side by side, but Dumar as well. You can see in the mirror of Swinnerton there. Dumar's right behind him. This is a close one. Braking area. Brace yourself.
That's a bit of a naughty nudge on Gasho.
Fisichella. Of course he was going to do that. Let's see the replay. You can see Swinnerton down the inside there. Mazda want to take a look at their brakes, I reckon. That was opportunistic, and if it managed to nail on, it would have been so much better looking than it actually was. No offence intended.
So there's a possibility that's due to the wearing of the tyres. He just slightly misjudged his brakes. He's ended up in 6th place now, though. I believe that to be the highest he's been this season so far.
2 to go. Very good looking for Swinnerton in his position, considering the turn. Lap one mistake at Interlagos where he just suddenly veered off and had to make up the numbers for the rest of it, especially in race 2 as well.
We are now on the last lap.
It is the final lap. 1 to go.
Not seen much of Webber, although this time not being at the back, he's now at the front. Unfortunately, not getting into any kind of grief with Whitman. They seem to be quite happy with the positioning.
So both the big brands that seem to underachieve at Interlagos are going to reap some benefits here. There's E-Day now looking to fend off 3rd position and 4th because Fisichella's closing in as well. Could this be dramatic going into the final turns?
Nielsen doing something very similar to Thompson in the previous race, where he's had a very quiet but successful race. They're sat happily in 4th place.
Yeah. Final turn out of New Holland, and deserved or not, Webber finally gets the factory win, having done so well last season for the privateers. Wittmann, 2nd, good run there. E-Day, also excellent run. It's been an excellent run for everyone in the top 7. Duma, Gasho in 8th, Butcher recovering well. Schneider also giving BMW some good luck. But Nico Wirtz, talk about turn for the worst. He's gone down to P12. Pullover catching as well. Thompson, yeah, here or there. Biffle not doing well as weekends. Camish, and of course propping up the track. We've got the Tamiya Honda, but then of course P20th seemed to be nowhere at the end there. That was interesting.
Yeah,
but of course
far back. I wonder what happened there.
Weber with something to send back to Munich for BMW to be very happy with, but in response to race 1, who knows what might happen when we get to the Red Bull Ring for races 5 and 6, round 3. This has been a good weekend, Christian.
It has indeed.
And on behalf of Christian Shepherd for the World Super Touring Car Championship, this is Adrian Michael Rees. Once again, good racing, everyone.